What's up, y'all? There's echoes throughout the canyon here. It didn't really echo, but hypothetically. My name is Evan Strong. That's not a hypothetical. I'm the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. This is our main side. Today's the 14th of November, 2025. Okay. The main side of In The Image Clothing Company, one of our four, this is where we allow the human body to work. We come at it through clothing. We come at it through the body, though, really. The only way we need to approach the body is by allowing it to work. It's just a mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space. There's a center line to the human body. There's a neutral to every joint, okay? The sternum, the spine, the trachea, the nose, and our jaw are all in the center of the body, and the jaw is stabilizing the entire body, down to the feet. There's feet, though. They grip arches inward at our foundation and oppose the center line, keeping us vertical on Earth's gravity. But there is a neutral to every joint. There's a neutral to every function. There's a neutral to rotations, okay? In the forearms, from the fingertips up to the elbow, we've got neutral, and then internal rotation. Neutral, and then external rotation. And then from the hand up to the shoulder, we've got neutral and internal rotation, and then neutral and external rotation, okay? The foot to the knee is like the hand to the elbow. There's a neutral, which is straight out from that pinky. For both the foot and the hand, straight forward out the pinky is the neutral position, okay? Straight forward for the pinky toe and straight forward for the pinky. So those lower legs are just like the forearms. From the foot to the knee, there's internal rotation from the neutral. Back to the neutral, we have external rotation, okay? In the foot to the hip, like the whole arm together, there's internal rotation from the neutral and external rotation from the neutral, okay? So, there's only one way the human body could ever work. One of those things that I say so often. Something I can never say too much. It's just the case, right? There's only one way the human body could ever work. No opinion, no way to approach the body. Stretching is damaging the body. All musculature only contracts, okay? Meaning getting shorter. So this video's title is actually that. The human body only pulls. And I want to make this as real as it is. I don't have an opinion. And that's really the point of In The Image Clothing Company. We don't have opinions here that we push. We're human beings and we're opinionated where we are, okay? Designed in the image of God, Jesus Christ, right? In The Image Clothing Company. We can only allow the body to work. It's something we didn't create. It's God's design. We just can understand how it works and let it. That's what we do here. You know, we come at it through clothing. Clothing stays centered. If it's correct, where we discuss clothing has to sit for everybody on the universal human design. And clothing needs to be made from 100% natural materials because the human body is only natural. Unnatural materials are only decades old as of today's date. And often they'll bring with them stretch, which goes the opposite direction of what? Pulling. Muscles only contract, okay? The elbow here, there's the bicep here on one side that pulls two endpoints together. It pulls or contracts. And now we've closed the elbow joint. On the other side of this upper arm from the bicep, there's triceps. 3 of them. 3 muscles. And they now pull, well, the bicep relaxes to extend the elbow. Okay? Bicep pulls to close, the triceps relax. Triceps pull to open, the bicep relaxes. Muscles only pull. The human body can only ever work one way. There's only one way the human body could ever work. It pulls. There's no opinion to this. But what there is a lot of people that do splits, okay? What I mean is they split up workouts. But we talk about workouts and I kind of mock them in a lot of ways. There's only allowing that can happen to allow the body to work. You'll never train the human being to do anything. Function-wise, it's physically impossible. You just can't physically possibly train to a neutral. It's physically impossible to train the body to get it to do anything other than just have more strength, right? Within its only working positions, which is its neutrals in all senses of what that means. There's only a neutral to everything in the body. The only way you can ever possibly approach it, I'll just hit it as many times as I do. I'll say it as many times as I say it in this, is what I mean. You can only ever allow the body to work. That's the only physically possible thing to do. No opinion, no way to approach. It's a mechanical machine. But it starts at the feet. Okay. And it's the whole body working activated as a whole. Everything's there. That's the only way it can work. You can't drag around dead weight. Nothing can compensate for something else not doing its function because everything has an individual role to play. So if we never wore clothing, the body would just work. Animals just work. God designed the human being as our vessel to take us across this earth with. But we place clothing on us, and that's great. Clothing is necessary, and it's wonderful to have. It keeps us safe. It keeps us modest. But it can't alter the body. So when we talk about where clothing sits, for everybody, man, woman, tall, short, skinny, fat, any age, any part of the earth, any time period to ever be, we're all just human beings, and our clothing has to sit in the same locations. And I'll discuss it here. Pants sit above our hips. There's what's called our natural waist. I'm wearing a fanny pack. Oh, I thought you'd be able to see it when I went up on my toes like that. Yes, the natural waist, okay? Above our hip bones, but below our lowest ribs, where we bend side to side at our spine, okay? Muscles only contract. The truth. That's what we do here. We try to get down to truth. That's the point, because there's only truth in life. Jesus Christ himself is the truth, the way, and the life. Designed in the image of Jesus Christ is our bodies, and this earth is something he created for us. No opinion. That's what I mean. In the Image Clothing Company podcast is one of our fours. We have discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ, aka the truth of all things. No opinion, though. No belief, no religion. Just we're all human beings. We're all here. What is this place? How is this place? Well, we've got 177 episodes as of today's date of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, and we're still doing it as we do it. And I'm in this for life. Evan Strong, as the founder of In the Image Clothing Company, right? But there's only one way all this is here. There's only one way the human body could ever work. It only pulls. It's just there's no opinion. There's no possible way to try to have an opinion on how to get the body to do anything. There's a lot of people out there, sports coaches, physical therapists, personal trainers, chiropractors, whoever it is, whatever it is, however you want to do anything, there's only one way. It doesn't matter what you want to try to approach the body with, because this is what I'm saying is people do splits, well, where, they'll work out the body. One day they'll push, and the next day they'll pull to try to work both sides of the body. But guess what? Oh, you're just only ever pulling. Because a push, like a push-up even, right? Pushing my hands right here, well, quote, pushing, unquote, it's not a push, it's a pull. But taking my hands from this position and putting them away from my body and pulling my hands away from my body. There's only truth, and this is it, okay? Those triceps that I mentioned, they connect from the elbow joint up the rear of the arm to the shoulder capsule back here, okay? Capsule, if you want to call it a capsule. Yes, okay, the upper arm bone, the humerus, the collarbone, the clavicle, and the shoulder blade, the scapula. They come up here and meet the ends of those three bones together. That's our shoulder joint. And on the rear of that, we've got triceps. 3 muscles back here, and they pull to extend the elbow. Watch this. Here with my elbow closed all the way. By the way, again, there's no possible way to train the human being. There's only a full range of motion. You come all the way closed and you hit your hand to your shoulder. You go all the way open and you hit your bones together in the elbow joint. They just lock in place, meshed straight. There's no way to ever possibly stretch the body. It's physically impossible. There's only a range of motion. There's only one way the human body could ever work. No opinion I could ever possibly have. It's nothing to do with me. It's the truth. When you're pushing, you're not pushing, ever. The human body can't physically possibly push. It can do a motion where things are going farther away from you. But within your own body, you're pulling. Your triceps are pulling from your elbow joint to your shoulder. Pulling together. Now watch my hand. When my triceps pull, it's a pull that's causing an extension at a hinge joint of the elbow. The human body only ever pushes. No possible opinion to have. Now, you're doing a motion that causes something to be pushed away from you. Okay, sure. But within your body, the musculature's activation, well, muscles activate. The human body just always is activated as a whole, stacked vertically on Earth's gravity. There's no such thing as posture. The whole body's just working together, or it's not. You try to train something with only part of your body working, well, everything has a role to play. It just all works together, but only in its neutrals. Okay, there's just only one way the human body could ever work. It would just work if it never had anything on it to alter it, or if we never just like did things in positions in our modern man-made world that are just damaging to the body, that build up chronic patterning and scar tissue. Because that's really what we do here under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. Well, that's really the point of In The Image Clothing Company for the human body, is getting out of chronic patterning and scar tissue. Well, and just learning how to allow the body to work, and then we just don't build up chronic patterning and scar tissue. But there's only one way the human body could ever work. It pulls. I almost said pushes because I'm pushing as I'm saying that there. The body pulls. Muscles just connect to two endpoints. Okay, like those triceps on the rear of the upper arm. They connect at one end point of the muscle. You follow the muscle to the end, and it comes to a point here at the elbow. Okay, but yeah, the end of the muscle here inserts. Okay, there's insertions to muscles, and it's at the elbow joint for the triceps at one end. And then it comes up the rear of the arm, the upper arm, and connects at the shoulder at another insertion, and it just pulls those two together. It meaning, yes, there is 3 muscles there doing this, but now my hand is going away from me because I'm pulling my shoulder to my elbow. I'm not pushing. I'm pulling to operate a hinge joint, and my hand's just on the other end of that hinge joint from where my shoulder is. And in between the hand and the shoulder is the elbow. It's a pull. Truly, mechanically. The human body is just a mechanical machine. The human body only ever pulls. I mean, I made a video. Yes, it was. It was in the. I was going to say I'm pretty certain, but no, I'm certain. It was in the fall of 2024, about a year ago. Titled something like "Push versus Pull." It's probably not going to be where you can find it, when you're watching this, but at the very start of In The Image Clothing Company, when I was still learning a lot of what I now do, and I'm in this for life doing this, right? Just discussing how we really be human beings. The only way, there's only one way. And I said in that video, the human body only pulls, and that's the truth. But now I just understand it very, very, very deeply. Everything in the body, motion-wise, can only happen from musculature firing, activating, contracting. That's all muscles do, other than relax. And then we just flop on the ground, and there's no function to happen. The only end of working is activation. There's opposing muscles. That's how we stay vertical. The core, the abdominal muscles, oppose the hamstrings on the rear of the upper leg. So you've got the core muscles here in the abdominal area in the front of the body contracting. And then opposing that, as we pass through the hip joint, the hamstrings on the upper leg of the rear of the upper leg, they contract. The body pulls on two sides of something to stabilize. As I just stabilize my arm here, really stiffen my fist, and so I can't move my arm up and down very easily, it's because my bicep is pulling on one side, and my tricep is pulling on the other side, and now I'm stable. Look how muscular I am. Muscular. Yikes. I am though. Holy cow. Oh my gosh. That's funny because I really am. And you can just see the muscles working in my body, which is great because you can see the visual, right? I love to show the visuals and explain things so deeply that there's no possible opinion to have. I'm just discussing things as they are, okay? The human body only ever pulls. That's the only way it can possibly cause any physical motion to occur. It's a mechanical machine. But how does this happen then? How Excuse me, Mr. Airplane. How does it happen for us to push then? In all senses of what that could mean, well, we can talk about any pushing motion in the body. It's always a pull of musculature. Muscles literally are electrical. The brain is an electrical system, and it's in our skull. It travels down through the brainstem and through the spine, inside of our spine, right? From the base of our skull here, at the top of the cervical spine, all the way down to the base of our lumbar spine, at our pelvis. Our whole spine, there's a cord in there that sends wiring, truly, electrical signals and impulses and firings of, like electricity from the brain out through the whole body. And then from the spinal cord, it stems off and feeds the whole body. That's our nervous system, the sense of touch. When these things, happen, these like firings of nerve endings, if you will, okay, without trying to get too technical and explain it like I really know how it exactly works. Just this is how it works. It activates pulling fibers together, okay? In muscle, I mean, what is a muscle? It's a lot of little tiny fibers, and they pull together. Okay, truly, really, they do only ever pull. But we can push like we're getting up on a ledge. Look at this beautifully placed location. I'm not saying that like from me doing it. I was praying through like, where do I make this? And this is great. When I'm pushing up onto this ledge, if you can't see the ledge, that's okay, but you can see where my hands are. As I push up onto the ledge, I am not pushing. I am not. A pull is happening, which causes an extension of the elbow joint. And now my hand is farther away from me than it was here with my elbow contracted. When my triceps on the rear of my upper arm pull together, but I didn't push my hand is just the anchor point against something where a pull is happening and the hand's not moving, it's anchoring. When I put my hands on this ledge with my elbows bent and I essentially push up, or like doing a push up, right? The motion, I'm only pulling. But my body is getting farther away from where the anchor point of my hands are because muscles are pulling together, causing a hinge to extend. This is the truth. So watch this, right? I'm here. When I pull my triceps together from the elbow up to the shoulder, my hands just get farther away. I just pulled to extend. I didn't push anything. I didn't push the rock away. I pulled my shoulder to my elbow. My hand was just anchored on the rock. Because standing here, I'm doing the exact same thing. I just pulled my shoulder to my elbow. My hand's getting farther away from me because I am pulling. This is the truth. It's crazy. Because there's no such thing as a push in the body, mechanically. It doesn't happen. You're pulling. But the body's a mechanical machine. It's just a hinge and a lever and a rotation where it is. So, there you go. Okay, you're pushing yourself up this ledge, up out of a pool. You're pushing, off the ground, getting up out of bed. You're doing an actual push-up motion. Even weights, you're laying on your back and pushing up with a bar. No, you're not. The bar is going up away from you. Well, even a shoulder press, because I'm standing, so I don't have to lean back to show this. Watch this. A shoulder press, let's say I have some weight in my hands here on like a bar, or just something in my hands at all. I'm just pushing it up above my heads. I only have one physical skull here, my head, right? But if you push weight up here, it's actually a pull of the musculature back here. It's not a push, because what's happening is you're just pulling endpoints together here, causing just this lever of the hinge of the elbow to extend, and the hand, where the weight is just on the other end of this halfway point from the hand to the shoulder at the hinge of the elbow. So you're really pulling to push the hand away from you. You're not pushing at all. But the pulling motion just causes the hand to go over there, okay? Farther in the other direction from where the muscles pull, which is strange, but that's actually how it is. And so this stems at the feet because, again, the human body only pulls. Well, how do we stand up and push, so it seems, off the ground with our feet up onto our toes? You're pulling. Arches in the feet grip. They grip inward. Like I'm saying, they pull back. The toes to the heel were pulling, okay? We talk about the height of a gripped arch. It's the toes pulling to the heel that causes the foot to be essentially, but it's not, right? But it seems like it's pushing on the ground. Now, when we go from our feet all the way on the ground up onto our toes, it's our calf muscles on the rear of our lower leg pulling. And we think we're pushing on the ground. You're pulling. You're jumping, let's say. You jump off of the ground. You're not pushing off of the ground. You're pulling. Musculature in the feet, underneath, to have that arch spring. Musculature up the rear of the lower leg, that calf muscle, pulls to extend the joint of the ankle. Okay, I'll show it here. Okay, right here, shout out to the Zero shoes, okay, the Ridgeways by Zero shoes, the brand. No affiliation as of this video or up until, but they're awesome, okay. Here, to push up this, I'm wearing pajama pants, shout out to these, okay. I'm actually pulling. If I go from right here where I am, I'm gonna use my right foot, okay. If I go from right here and I want to go up this, using my right leg on top of this, anchoring my foot on this rock ledge, I am not pushing to go up this. Watch, I'll do it. It looks like I'm pushing, but I'll explain what's actually happening mechanically. There's no possible way you can push function-wise as a human being. The motion happens, but it happens from a pull. So from here, you've got your foot anchored on the rock, but it's not actually a push, it's a contraction of musculature that extends the joint of the knee. Like I was saying with the elbow, how it's a contraction from the elbow up to the shoulder of the triceps on the rear of the arm that just caused the hinging of the elbow to have the hand go farther away. You're not pushing the hand, you're actually pulling the tricep. Here on this rock, my foot's anchoring like my hand would be anchoring, okay? And now what we're doing is just pulling muscles like the calf and like the hamstring and the quadriceps together, and it's causing an extension at the knee joint and at the ankle joint, and the foot's just anchoring. There's no pushing happening. It's a pull from the calf muscle connecting at the knee in the rear to the heel of the foot, a pull. It's a pull of the hamstring connecting at the knee joint in the rear up to the glute area, up to the hips, okay? And it's a pull of the quadriceps connecting at the knee in the front up to the hips. It's a pull, oh my gosh, yeah, of the hip flexors. Well, the hip flexors flex up, but they still work with the quads in ways to do a motion that can seem like a push. But it's a pull, is the point. All these muscles are pulling to extend the knee joint and to plantar flex or extend the ankle joint. Okay, watch this. It looks like I'm pushing up onto this rock. I'm pulling musculature and it's extending joints to get me up onto this rock, okay? Okay? That's a pretty high step up. But that's what's happening. When we grip arches in the feet, or when we just jump, right? Which, I mean, that's what would be happening when we jump. When I jump, I am not pushing off the ground. Me jumping is me pulling my calf muscles together, okay? It's me pulling my quadricep muscles together, meaning endpoints coming closer, pulling my hamstrings together in the rear of my upper legs, okay? And then I jump. We think we're pushing the ground away from us. We're just pulling our bones together. And the ground is just on the other end of the anchor point of where those pulls are happening. The human body only ever pulls. That's it. Okay? But here's the thing. Clothing truly is the only fix to human beings' physical problems. Big claim. It's not a claim. But it sounds bold. I know. I get it. We need to extend our elbows. Okay? In order to do what we think is a push... Yikes, this is a big video. We're actually pulling. But we can only have the full range of motion in this pulling motion that seems like a push, like me pushing up onto this ledge, like pushing up out of a pool or like the side of a, body of water. Like you pull yourself up onto a bar and you push up onto it. You're not pushing up. Oh, that's a good thing to show. We know we're pulling, like a pull up. We understand this because you're getting your hands farther from your body to come closer to your body in a pull. This is crazy. This takes it out of me because this is huge. The human body only ever pulls. Go. I mean, this could be a really, really long video and I could give a lot of explanation, like a lot of examples. In every sense, the human body can only ever pull. But when you do a pull up, you put your hands above you, grab a bar, and you pull up to the bar with your body. Now, if you go from here and you do what seems to be pushing your body up over the bar, you're still pulling. You're just pulling in a different angle with different musculature. From down here, below the bar, if we reach up above our heads and we pull, we're pulling muscles like the latissimus dorsi, connecting from the rear of the upper arm here to the pelvis, clear down there. Okay, the whole torso, from the shoulder down to the hips, is where the where the latissimus dorsi muscle spans. We're pulling up, okay? And we understand this. We're pulling with the bicep to close the elbow joint, okay? Wait. Okay. See if I can get this guy to get on this. A little honeybee. Okay. Maybe this video will be a lot longer than I expected. I don't know for sure yet, but maybe. Because I can discuss this deeply, and we can document it as of today's date. In the Image Clothing Company, we speak truth. We're pulling, and we get it. We call it a pull up, because our bodies are being pulled up to the height of the bar. Bicep Here, from the elbow to the shoulder, shortening. Latissimus dorsi, from the rear of the upper arm to the pelvis, shortening. We're pulling up. Trapezius muscles in the rear, upper, mid, and lower, the rhomboids and the rotator cuff muscles. Oh, I mean, shoot. That's what I mean by this video could be so long because I can really discuss it deeply, deeply, deeply. We know we're pulling. We're pulling our bodies up to something in a pull up. We understand it. It's in the phrasing. But once you get up to the height of the bar, if you go from this position now with your hands more at like shoulder height, and you do what seems to be pushing your hands down, you're not pushing at all. Now, from your hands here around your shoulder height with the bar here at like your chest level, if you take your hands and put them lower, hands connected to the bar, you're putting the bar lower than you, you're not pushing your body up, you're pulling your body up. But now you're above the bar. Because now we're doing the same thing I was showing on the ledge. The hand is the anchor point on the top of the bar, and a pull happens at the tricep. Where does clothing fit into this? Clothing, we can't have a gap. God, this video could be just so huge. We can't have a gap at our own sides. We have to fully extend our elbows. The importance of even elbow extension. By the way, the height of a gripped arch, that's a video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. When that guy walked by, I'm not frustrated with him at all or anything, but I got taken off guard. I didn't realize he was there, and then he was there, and he realized I was filming a video, and I mean, I'm just out here filming a video, and it kind of sidetracked me, and that's okay. God, this is just crazy because I'm just so like passionate with this. We have to have even elbow extension. Okay, we talk about minding the gap in episode title of In The Image Clothing Company podcast. Mind the gap between our own arm and our own rib cage, our own elbow and our own natural waist. Keeping elbows at the natural waist. A video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. There's only one way the human body could ever work mechanically. Elbows at the natural waist in all the ways that we live life as a human being. Okay, because gravity just pulls straight down from the shoulder down to the elbow, because the elbow connects to the body at the shoulder. Okay, there you go. That's the simple way to explain it for this video. We talk about this where we do. Okay, we'll always talk about this. I'm in this for life. Evan Strong as the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. So, in order to get our elbows at our own sides, just so they can hang down with gravity, we can't have a gap from oversized clothing here between our own body's side and our own body's side. The inside of our arm and the outside of our torso here, the rib cage and our natural waist. Okay? The human body only pulls. So when we take the bar from our chest level and put it down below us, we're pulling it away from us. Truly. You're pulling your triceps. You're pulling your trapezius muscles to extend your elbow, to pull the bar away from you. Strange, but true. But this will never happen if you can't just rest your arms at your own side. Okay? This video is just going to be how this video is going to be. If it doesn't flow, I don't care at all. This is huge. The human body only pulls. Because, check this out. The feet grip. Gripping implies pulling, okay? Where grip strength really comes from is a video here under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. What we have is the feet gripping arches inward. And as they do, then our pinky toes get straight forward, okay? Like the hands, when we show this gripping of the hand, now we're straight forward from the pinky. That's how the feet work. The hands and the feet are just about the exact same thing. Okay, there's only one difference in the amount of bones in the hands and the feet, and their mechanics are just about the exact same, really, truly. The neutrals are both straight out from the pinkies, and there you go. Okay, there's 5 digits in each, 5 toes, 5 fingers. When the feet grip inward, they're pulling. Now they're neutral and straightforward, and we can just walk, right? Rolling evenly off the ends of our toes, but our toes are just angled up and in, kind of like an arrow. So we do roll our feet inward to just evenly put weight on all the toes as we walk. Okay, and that's where that neutral ankle comes from, with that slight outward curvature up the lower leg, from the heel of our foot up to the knee, through the ankle joint, and the lower legs themselves have just like a slight curvature in the bone structure and workings, and the way that they just operate, okay, because we roll off the outside of the feet. And so the feet grip in, they pull. The feet pull to push. We're not pushing, but it seems like we're pushing off the ground. Like I was saying with the jump, we're pulling our feet. We're pulling our toes to our heels, and we jump off of the earth, away from the earth, by pulling muscles in our feet together, and our calf muscles on the rear of our lower legs. The importance of even Achilles tendon insertions is a video under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. The tendons that connect our calf muscles on the rear of our lower legs to our heels of our feet, they need to be even, you know, and in uneven shoe tying to the right, in this right-handed world, our right foot sticks out, only externally rotated because it's just a knot, okay? We need to tie shoes evenly over toward the center line of the body. Oh, shoot, I was talking about where clothing sits earlier, and I didn't get through it yet in this video. Well, okay, that's fine. We'll talk about it if and where I do. I said I would. If I don't, hey, I'm sorry. Truly. There's more important things to mention in this video if I don't get through entirely discussing where clothing sits. We talk about it where we do, often, under In The Image Clothing Company. Because our feet track in line and go straight forward, and they pull from the toes to the heels, from the heels of our feet up the rear of the leg to the knee. The calves pull, and the human body only ever pulls. Man, this is so humbling. This is ridiculous. It's hard for me to get through, like emotionally hard for me to get through. Actually, even you can tell, probably. There's just no pushing that can happen. Because just like how we're pushing, this video is going to be how this video is going to be. We're pulling muscles together. We're pulling endpoints or two insertions of muscles together to get the hand to go down, to get the bar to go away from us. When we're getting higher than the bar in like a position like that. This is so weird. It's like spiritually draining. The human body only can ever pull, okay? When we're sitting down on the ground, we're pulling with our glutes, sit bones, or ischiums is really what they're called. The bones there that our glutes are like over. We're sitting on the ground with those sit bones, the bottom of our pelvis or our hip structure. And then our heels of our feet pull to our glutes with our hamstrings, okay? The muscles on the rear of our upper leg with our calf muscles on the rear of our lower leg. And then our core pulls as well, working with those. Because like I was saying earlier, when I was standing like this, discussing posture, the human body can only ever work activated as a whole, but there's just opposing muscles. The core muscles here in the abdomen shorten and pull the pelvis underneath us, pulling from the front of the pelvis up, posteriorly tucking us vertical on Earth's gravity at the pelvis. And our hamstrings on the rear of our body, once we pass down lower than the pelvis or the hip structure, right? Since they connect on the rear of the body, they pull down on the pelvis, doing the same thing though, because they're opposing. The muscles in the abdomen on the front pull the pelvis up in the front. The muscles on the hamstrings and the rear of the legs connect to the rear of the pelvis and pull the rear of the pelvis down, which is the same thing as pulling the front of the pelvis up, okay? Opposing muscles only pulling cause us to push. The human body only pulls. It's physically impossible for it to push. Muscle fibers contract, shorten, or pull when they activate. But it's a hinge and lever system. Even rotations in the body. Internal rotation seems more obvious, I would say, or think that people would see it that way as well, that it would seem more obvious that that's a pull, because in most all cases, really, I mean, there's a lot to the body, is what I mean by that. Oh, shoot. Internal rotation, it's like, you know, I just like pass out. That's how I feel. It takes a lot out of me. Pulling in to the center of the body, like following the thumb at the neutral hand here, right? Thumb up or thumb forward, okay? Whether the hands are out in front of us like this, the thumb up is neutral. Then we have internal rotation. Or from the neutral with the thumbs up, we have external rotation. With our hands down at our sides, the thumbs would just be pointing forward. And then now here we could still have internal rotation or external rotation. And this is what I mean by it probably seems more obvious to most people, and to me it just kind of would seem more obvious, that's what I'm saying, that internal rotation would be a pull. Because we're, you know, even internal, like inside, we're pulling to the inside. You follow these thumbs when they're neutral, pointing straight up with the arms pointing out forward like this. And you're pulling in with the thumb and pulling musculature, the pectoral muscles, right? The upper trapezius muscle, and those are ones that we can just visually see pretty easily. We're pulling them closer together to get the arm to rotate inside of the body, internal rotation. But there's actually a lot happening in the scapula area, the shoulder blades, the bones on our upper backs. You know, the natural scapula position is a video under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company. And there's just only a neutral, okay? Up, down, front, back, and then all the rotations, there's just a neutral where the scapulas sit. There's only one way the human body could ever work. There's no possible opinion. There's no way to physically possibly train it to do anything mechanically besides just get stronger in its only workings. There's no opinion to what we do under In the Image Clothing Company. This is the truth. Don't believe me. Don't believe In the Image Clothing Company. We just discuss things as they are. The human body only pulls. Because, sure, we can understand, because of what I just showed, internal rotation is a pull, but external rotation is a pull as well. From here, rotating our hand out, away from our body, is pulling of musculature. Where those scapulas are on our upper back, which, you know, these two big bones up here on the upper back that just, they have so much motion. They are the shoulders. The scapula has a peak of it called the acromion that comes up, right? Like the peak of the collarbone comes up, and those two bones meet the peak, if you will, of the humerus or the upper arm, and that's what creates the shoulder capsule. I was saying that earlier. As long as that was in this video, I think it was. If not, whatever, I just said it there. In those scapulas, there's muscles, 4 little muscles, and we call it the rotator cuff. They're small muscles, just in comparison to, you know, bigger muscles in the body. They're fairly small because they tuck under and in and through the area where the scapula is, or the shoulder blade. Same thing, worded 2 different ways. I'm like having a hard time getting through this because it's like it's draining, man. It's okay, it's good. I'm giving the context for why, like, I have this, like, you know, I'm uncomfortable. It's not a bad thing, but it's crazy because this is the truth. The human body only pulls, ever, possibly, mechanically. That's it. No opinion. There's no pushing it can possibly do. No, it can't. Because these little muscles that connect from the shoulder area into the scapula, when we're externally rotating, it's muscles pulling on the bone just in a way that causes it to twist. And that twisting just happens to be where the thumb is going away from the body, but it's just muscles pulling, connecting from, in the shoulder capsule, the upper arm bone into the scapula. Okay. The human body only ever pulls. Shoot, that is not the case. It does not only ever push. It doesn't push ever. It's physically impossible for the body to actually push, but it can do a motion that causes parts of it to get farther away than it was before the motion happened. Okay. Because we think about a squat. And you're doing a squat, whether you have weight on your shoulders with like a bar here in your hands, or you're just doing a body weight squat. And you think you're pushing off of the ground. You're not. It's the same position I was showing here when I stepped up on the ledge. We're pulling muscles together, and our foot's just the end point anchor for a pull to happen. Okay. If you sit down here like this, you're at a gym and you're doing like leg presses and you're pushing, so you think, your foot away from you, you're not pushing. You're not. You're contracting muscles, pulling endpoints of muscles together, and your foot's the anchor on the other end of the hinge joint where muscles are pulling to just extend the hinge. The glutes, the hamstrings, the quadriceps, the hip flexors, the calves, these muscles all work in conjunction, meaning together. The human body is a chain, right? Like I said it, I'm going to say it again right now. The human body truly can only ever work activated as a whole. That's the thing, there's no way to train the body, but it starts at the feet. In the Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique is just the only way the human feet are shaped. It's one of our 2 prerequisites, in addition to removing all tags from clothing. When we talk about just not altering the body, we discuss where clothing sits, and then we have these 2 as our 2 prerequisites. Tags just didn't even exist decades ago from today's date. They're new. They're either causing a physical gap, changing the body's only working position, or they're just not allowing musculature to activate, and then the body's trying to compensate, which is physically impossible because everything has a role to play. It just has to work all together. Otherwise, it just can't work. Okay. But in the Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique, it's just the only way the human feet are shaped. And then we tie shoes evenly over toward the inside on both feet, just opposing the center line of the body, because there's just 2 sides to the body, and it's just ropes. Okay. But here's the thing. Clothing truly is the only fix to human beings' physical problems. The human body can only ever push. And, oh my gosh, I said it again. The human body can only ever pull. When we're doing a squat, when we're doing a leg press, we're not pressing anything besides the bottoms of our feet against something so that we can have a pull happen. Okay? Oh, that's where I was. The human body is a chain. We talk about chains in the body, like the posterior chain. The muscles on the rear of the body are things like, I just put my left leg up because I put my right leg up, and I just wanted to make it even. Things like the hamstrings, working with the calves, working with the glutes, working with the lower back, working with the latissimus dorsi muscles, working with all the trapezius muscles, all 3 of them between the shoulder blades, working with everything back there. I mean, any muscle that's back there is a chain. From the bottom to the top, from the top to the bottom, however you want to look at it. And they all have to work together. They all connect to each other. That's what I mean. Everything has a role to play. It's all connected. Anywhere any of you goes, all of you comes. Wherever you go, there you are. Yeah. Keeping color centered, by the way. A video under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. In The Image Clothing Company's dreaded color scheme modification, one of our free modifications we give. Same thing for dogs, right? We have to keep our collars of our dogs centered. That's why we would have products and will for dogs. You know, collars, leashes, and harnesses, similar things like this, in addition to human being clothing. Yeah. Okay. In the Image Clothing Company poodles. But the big point with this being a big point is it's the truth. The human body can only ever pull, because the body's like a chain all working together. And when I talk about how there's no such thing as posture, but there's just how would the body work vertical on Earth's gravity? Well, activated as a whole, because we've just got bends in the body. The ankles bend backward, the knees bend forward, the hips bend backward, the lower back bends forward, the thoracic or mid back bends backward, the spine of the neck, which is the cervical spine, bends forward, and there you go. And then we can even go higher than this. There's just bends through the body. When you raise your hands above your head, I guess the point is essentially there's opposing bends there as well. Because there has to be. Within the gospel of Jesus Christ, the truth of all things, no opinion. There's opposition in all things. That's what we discuss, right? There's opposites or there's nothing. There's light so that there's dark. There wouldn't be dark if there wasn't light. There wouldn't be warmth if there wasn't cold. There wouldn't be the ability to have a pushing motion happen if you couldn't pull two endpoints together. But the human body only pulls, but it can cause a motion to happen that's an extension. It's not a push. There's no pushing happening at all. It's just an extension of a hinge. Pulling extends. That's it. And so that's the thing with the body, it's snakes, front to back. Ankles backward, knees forward, hips backward, lower spine forward, mid spine backward, upper spine forward, now we're to the head. The jaw stabilizes the entire body. We talk a lot about the jaw. I made a video yesterday about the jaw. We've just got so many videos. If I reference more in here, I do, but this video is just taking me off guard. This is not how I normally am in these videos. By the way, I guess if you, like I, could say, if you're new to us, as in the Image Clothing Company, this is not how I normally approach making these videos. This video is like, it's like spiritually heavy hitting in a beautiful way. Yeah. I'm scattered, and it's strange, but it's good. I just need to keep making it. Regardless of how it comes out, the information's in it, and it's the truth. Documented as of today's date. A lot of what we do is just documentation under in the Image Clothing Company. I date mark things. I'll always have the team date mark all that I have them date to mark. We'll say it like that, right? In the Image Clothing Company's team, because yeah, it's documentation. That's a lot of what we do. So, yeah, that's the point. Is as fluent as I say it or not, the point is I'm saying the information, it's here. Truthfully, as of the date that it is, and discussed how it is, as it is, everything is just what it is, right? There's only truth. I'm discussing it here, bro, so don't believe me. But this is how it works. The body only pulls. This is eternally valid information. So it doesn't matter if I say it fluent or not. I'm saying it correct. I feel like it's going to be a pretty darn long video. Like longer than ours normally are. This is humongous. If it randomly cuts, it was because of something like battery in the device here dying or storage space getting full. Okay, because I'm just going to let this go. I'm going to explain this as thoroughly as I do, just as it is. This is a very unconventional video. But we are who we are. Unorthodox and untraditional, right? That's what I say a lot of the time. Just unconventional, just different. A strange and peculiar people, if you will. Disciples of Jesus Christ. That's how it's worded in God's word. So in order to have this back and forth, we have to have pulling happening on two different sides. Okay? For the ankle to work, the feet pull from the bottom of them. The calves pull from the rear of them. The rear of the lower leg. Which is interesting, because how does that happen? How do we grip arches inward and still push off the ground? let's talk about this. This is not how I have basically ever approached making any of these videos. We have hundreds. We have over 300 videos on In The Image Clothing Company's main site alone. And there's 4 sides to In The Image Clothing Company. They're not normally like this, and that's fine. I'm just addressing it. It's different to me because it is different. Okay. The feet pull from the bottom. The calf comes down, connects to the heel of the foot, and pulls. Now we've extended the foot by pulling. We've pushed. Not really pushing, but the toes are farther away now because we pulled the toes to the heel. Do you see what I mean? How am I doing this? How am I going to push my toes away from me? I'm going to do it by pulling my toes backward. That's the only way it can physically happen. It's mechanics. There's no opinion. You think you're pushing away from the rock. It's like, how are you calling this a pull, Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company? You think you made some breakthrough? I've been doing push-pull splits since I was a teenager. I'm 70 years old. You don't even know what you're talking about, somebody claims. No, it's the truth. What I'm saying is absolutely true. It's just different than most people understand. Because that's the thing. That's why people do work out. That's why people do stretch their bodies and do go to chiropractors and physical therapists, is because they don't understand how the human body actually works. And it's nothing you could ever get to happen. Physically impossible. There's only allowing it to reside in its neutrals. That's it. Only and ever, no opinion. Every human being's the exact same. You could have a deformity, amputation, major surgery, or birth defect. Something like this that has altered your body. There's a universal human design. What we learn about in the anatomy classes that we go to if we do. I haven't, but right. There's only one way the human body could ever work because it's designed in the image of God. It's not our design. But strangely, even though our toes, when we are plantar flexing or pointing our toes and they are going away from us, it's because we're pulling musculature underneath the foot and up the rear of the leg. And the toes just go away because we're hinging at the ankle. We're not pushing. We are not pushing. We're pulling. Pulling. And now my toes are farther from me because I've pulled endpoints of muscles together. The toes to the heel to the knee. Okay? And the musculature underneath the foot, gripping an arch, and the musculature from the heel of the foot up to the knee, pushing. Plantar flexing. Not pushing, actually, sorry. No. Pulling. Strange. Weird. It's the truth, though. So, everything in the body only pulls. And that's it. But it is weird because there's so much motion that we have in the body. And the only way it's able to happen is because we've got things pulling on both sides. Okay? Internal rotation, things are pulling. External rotation, things are pulling. But it's opposite functioning. Okay? From our bodies beneath the bar, pulling up to the bar, well, we're pulling. But then from our bodies at the bar's height to get our bodies above the bar, we're still pulling. Okay? Now I want to show this because this is great and we can discuss this and I could just be like a personal trainer out here like, hey guys, let's talk about how the body works. And sure, no, it's great. It's great to know how the body works and we're discussing it as it is here. But we're in the Image Clothing Company and where does clothing fit into this? I discussed a little bit, to get your elbows at your own sides, we can't have a gap here from oversized clothing. But also, just the fact that we need to be able to raise our body, like our shoulders, from their neutral, they can drop. Sure, that's just relaxing. Pulling on muscles, not the muscles doing pulling, but gravity now, just, dropping our shoulders from them deactivating and relaxing. But there's only a neutral. No opinion, there's only one way the human body could ever work. And our shoulders need to be able to rise. And boy, can they. From their neutral. And then from there, you've still got all this motion down here. But so many people go through life with their shoulders all the way dropped, not even rised or rised? If that's not correct, I don't care. Most people nowadays in modern 2025, and it's not even their fault, but it's just the case because of the modern man-made world, because of a lot of, what's going on in modern day. And a lot of it's just clothing. People go through their life with their shoulders completely just dropped. And from here, you can raise your shoulders to their neutral. And then from here, you can really raise your shoulders. It is shocking to most people because most people just don't have full range of motion in their body. Watch my shoulders rise. I mean, I didn't move anything in my body besides my shoulders. All the musculature going into my shoulders, and then the shoulder is the collarbone. The shoulder is the scapula. The shoulder is the entire arm, just because the upper arm bone, the humerus, that's one of the 3 bones of the shoulder. But this is from neutral. And most people are down here at the other end of neutral, the lowest end from neutral. From neutral, we go, it's nuts. My feet are on the earth. My body's staying the exact same except for my shoulders. Look at this motion. My whole body's staying the same. This is what I mean. There's only a neutral. There's only one way the human body could ever work. There's no possible opinion. My body did not work like this in the past. That's what I mean, when I say don't believe us, but you can also, in addition to just not believing us, you can know the truth. You can watch my body's physical transformation as the founder of In the Image Clothing Company from, any very first documentation, the founding date back in the 23rd of November, 2024, to any current date, under In the Image Clothing Company content, anything you ever see visually of me, and we do so much and always will through the gift of video. And then our team as well, and anybody who does what we show, not because of us, but because it's truth. You can see the physical and visual transformation of our bodies, okay, and mine going before as the founder, okay. Because there's only a neutral, there's only one way the body could ever work of the human being. But there's a lot of pulling that happens. We need to pull our bodies from their neutral up. Just where we do, when we need to, okay? To reach, you have to be able to pull. That was quite the whistle. You need to pull your shoulder even higher than neutral in life, because you can reach it down, and then you can reach it up. There's a lot of pulling that happens, a lot of musculature contracting. There's a lot of range of motion in the body, and there's only the amount of motion that there is. There's no way to possibly stretch into it. But that's the thing, is when you stretch muscles, you're pulling on them, and they only pull to work. Oh gosh, you can never benefit from stretching the body, never. And I start yelling all of a sudden. You can't. The body only pulls. In every sense of everything, always, at all, it's muscle fibers actually firing. Shocking, electrical signals causing things to pull together on a really small level, and all the little fibers on the muscle, and then there's a lot of little fibers that make up a whole muscle, and it only pulls. Ever. Do not stretch your body. Do not. You are damaging it so greatly. Okay, but if you're in a twist, you just got discrepancies in muscles, then things just tighten up because they can't pull into their neutral because they're on one end of their neutral, so they're so tense. And you think, well, if it's tense and tight, the word tight sounds like shortened. No, they're tight because they're pulled, so they stiffen up. This is the whole thing about chronic patterning and scar tissue. There's no possible opinion. You can never train the human body. It is physically, mechanically impossible. Don't believe me. I mean, let me be entirely wrong, but it's the truth. It has nothing to do with me. It's just crazy because, I mean, so many people are out there working out all the time and only damaging their body, only damaging it, except for those that really know quite a bit. And, you know, they know that they're just gaining strength in their body's workings. But no, most people, you're just entirely damaging your body so much. You know, doing exercise to it. No, leave it in its neutrals. Allow it to work. But it only pulls, okay? So what we have, shoot, is the arches in the feet gripping. And now our feet are pointing straight forward from our pinky toes, gripped arches, okay, underneath us, heels on the ground. The importance of zero drop shoes. The term just meaning flat, like we're flat on the earth. No man-made thing underneath the heel. Lifting the heel off the ground, causing the calves to be chronically short. If you lift the heel off the ground, you just shorten the calf muscle on the rear of the lower leg, and now it's constantly chronically short. And then it'll tense up. And now you want to stretch it when you don't need to. You just need to have it be in its only neutral position, which is perpendicular on Earth's gravity. I mean, even this, look at the flexibility in my body. I do not stretch, ever, never. I mean, it's been probably 2+ years since I've done a single stretch. I'm not exaggerating at all. It's just crazy. There's only truth, and we're being told and taught so much terrible, false information in modern day. Fitness stuff, you know, yoga stuff, you know, diet stuff, right? Yikes. No, there's only allowing, and it's no opinion. That's why I'm so bold. I say it like that. I work on the opposite end of a lot of people. I don't care about opinions. I care about God, and there's only truth. And so when I'm speaking the truth, I get so bold. It has nothing to do with me. That's why. A lot of times when people get so bold, it's because they want people to believe them. But I clearly say, and I mean it, do not believe me. Because whether you believe it or not, it's true. If we're discussing things correct here. And this is, I mean, it's just what it is. Don't believe me, okay? The human body only pulls, and our feet need to be perpendicular, okay? Just meaning the lower leg up, and then the foot sideways, okay? The foot horizontal, the lower leg up, okay? Just on Earth's gravity, like a right angle at the heel. You put a heel under your feet on shoes, and you just shorten all the muscles up and out your entire body to the tip of the fingers and the tip of the head. If I put a heel under my heel of my feet, my wrist will go from neutral to dropped the distance of the heel under my foot. The body's just a mechanical machine. It's a chain. Keep those heels on the ground, then your body's neutral. Otherwise, your whole body will just always be tense. And you'll try to stretch it, and you can't stretch anywhere. That's what I mean. There's nowhere to possibly stretch to. There's only fully extended or fully contracted. You can't go anywhere else. Where could I go to stretch something? It's impossible. I'm talking physically, legitimately, mechanically impossible to benefit from stretching the human body. That's why you keep doing it. You'll never get enough of what's not for you. People stretch all the time, and it never helps. You're just pulling on fibers of muscles that only shorten or pull. Together, you're pulling them away. In stretching anything in the body, it's physically impossible to benefit from stretching. Don't believe me. Don't think like just because I'm so worked up that I must know what I'm talking about. No. Look at me as if I'm entirely wrong and see what I'm saying. It's correct. It's the truth. It's crazy though, you know. So, we've got a neutral. We've got a pull on either side. That's what I'm saying. The body with the feet flat on the ground, there's a pull on either side. That's what I'm saying. I know I just said that, but that's what I'm saying. That's why there's the bends. And that's why it goes opposite each time. At the feet, they pull in from the bottom. The calves pull. up the rear of the lower leg. And then we switch. And now the quads pull. Man. I don't want to try to explain this as it's exactly like this, exactly in this part of the body right now, without really trying to think through how to explain it all as if, we can really talk about it exactly what's pulling where. But the body only pulls is the point. Because man, it really is crazy. There's only pulling that can ever happen, yet we do a lot of things that seem like a push. It's because what I was saying, right, about sitting down, you're sitting on the ground, and you put your heel on the ground, and the heel of your foot pulls to your sit bone. You're pulling muscles, the hamstring pulls, the calf pulls, the heel to the glute. Pulling, contracting, sitting on the ground. But then you sit in a chair height, and now it's more like your feet are pushing on the ground rather than the way that arches grip pulls you. This is why I was kind of caught up on what I was just saying is when I said I don't want to discuss this as if it's exactly like this. The truth is the human body only pulls, but I don't want to try to say exactly how it works without being able to say it correct, because I don't want it to seem like I think I know what I'm talking about. But there's an episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast titled Being Behind Yourself. And I talk about when your body's working properly, well, it's like I'm standing now. It feels like you're behind yourself. And what I do with my hands here is what my feet are doing. Feet grip arches inward and back. The toes are pulling back. When we talk about where tops sit, okay, the top seams of the shoulders sit evenly behind the peak of the shoulders. The peak of the shoulder is the end of the collarbone, and the end of this acromion of the scapula. Really, just the end of the collarbone is that very peak bone. The shoulder seams sit evenly behind that bone peak, because our shoulders only ever mechanically work behind our head. The upper trapezius muscle comes up and connects. See the muscle here? I mean, you can just see it. It comes up and connects to the very, very, very rear of the body, to the spine of the neck, the cervical spine, and then the base of the skull, right off the spine. I mean, you can just see it, on me right here, so you don't have to even question it. You can just see it happening. The shoulders only ever work behind the head, and there you go, okay? Because then we've got a neutral jaw, we've got a neutral windpipe, trachea, okay? We've got the body activated from the feet up through all of it. And when I show the body activated as a whole, and if you've seen, I've done it before, today's date is what I mean. I'll do that. I'll hit my core, and I'll hit my hamstring. I'll hit my core, and I'll hit my hamstring, like that on both sides, because that's what I'm showing. The core pulls, and the hamstrings pull, and that's what I showed with the pelvis. Two sides pulling from different sides cause the same function to happen. The rotation of the pelvis posterior. We could look at it like this. In order to get the pelvis to go anterior, you're contracting or pulling the quadricep muscles on the front of the legs and the lower back muscles on the rear of our body. Okay? Contracting those quads pulls the pelvis down in the front, pulls. Contracting the lower back muscles pulls the pelvis up in the rear, pulls. So opposing muscles pull to cause the same function to happen on different sides of the body. And that's how the human body only pulls, is because there is opposing muscles. There's a video under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company titled Opposing Muscles. Yeah. And there is one titled Muscles Only Contract as well. The human body only pulls. Because this is the thing. Sure, we can do motions that are causing an extension That's entirely natural, right? Me getting up onto this rock, I'll just do this, kind of like step out of the video in a sense for a second. And I'll just step, just get up this. And there's extension happening in my knee joint, in my ankle joint, in my hip joint, in my elbow joint. Extension to get me up this rock, right? Just like this. Okay? Extension. Woo! You imagine? I just try to be a little bit over the top for the video, and I fall like this 8-foot give or take drop, and just like die. Oh shoot! There's extension happening from poles, though. So this is what I'm saying. Everything we do in our lives, it doesn't matter if you're bringing something toward your body, or if you're putting your body away from itself. We just have to approach it with the activation and with the thought process behind it of it always only being a pole, because it is. But the point is, we can unintentionally activate certain muscles incorrect. Check this out. If I'm trying to get up this, because I discussed the hips the way that I did, oh, there we go. Meaning, if I hadn't have discussed that, I wouldn't have been able to correlate with this. I didn't think about it. I'm praying through this. This is a very amazing video. It's amazing, okay? Because it's weird, and it shows the truth of it, where I'm not trying to be like, I have an idea. The body only does what I think it does. It's like, no, I'm just discussing the truth, and I'm understanding it deeper as I'm discussing it. Well, I understand a lot of this, but discussing it does deepen my understandings as well, because I have to think through it, right? I'm really praying through this because God placed this in the ways that He needs it to be done, because me discussing the hips like that, core muscles pull up in the front, hamstring muscles pull down in the rear, okay? One function, posteriorly tucking of the pelvis, posteriorly rotating, if you will, okay? Front coming up, which is the rear going down. Quadricep muscles and hip flexors as well, they're in the same area, pulling down on the front of the pelvis, lower back muscles pulling up on the rear, anteriorly rotating the pelvis, okay? But we need to stay vertical on Earth's gravity, so we tuck the pelvis posterior underneath us. So this is what I'm saying, with the focus in our life needs to be on everything that we do being a pulling motion. It's because of Earth's gravity, okay? We talk about it. Well, like when I say, the human body has a center line, Earth has a center of gravity, we need to mesh these two things. So clothing has to stay centered, fit correct, and be made from 100% natural materials. That's what I mean. And I've said it many times before, a lot of what we do as human beings is just deal with Earth's gravity because of this very reason right here. Sure, there's functions on both sides. There's posterior rotation of the pelvis, and then there's anterior rotation of the pelvis, but there's only one neutral to Earth's gravity's pull, okay? Perpendicular with the surface of the Earth. The surface of the Earth is horizontal, the pull of gravity is vertical. That's a perpendicular angle, a 90-degree angle. That's what I was saying about the ankle joint. When the feet are flat on the ground, the importance of zero-drop shoes, the term, then our arches can grip, pulling us back behind us, in a sense. Shoulders only ever connect behind the head. Pelvis tucks so that we're kind of like in the back seat of our own bodies, okay? Picture a fighter. They have really well-working bodies. They either wear no shoes or shoes with flat soles. They have a lot of motion in their bodies. They reside in their neutrals like this, right? And they're kind of like tucked back. The only way that'll happen is by posteriorly tucking the pelvis to get it neutral, vertical on Earth's gravity. The reason why that's a big point with just approaching everything in life as a pole is because if we're really focusing on pulling, it's got to stem at our foundation. It's got to stem at the feet. All of a sudden I'm like preaching, right? Because I'm like in the flow now. I get it. I love this video. I'm all over the place in it. I'm aware. I know sometimes I'm just like yelling, like legitimately, and then sometimes I'm like crying legitimately, and this is what it is. This is just what it means, man, to just be as as obedient to God as I'm trying to be. We'll say it like that. I'm trying to be all, yeah, I'm trying. I'm really trying, okay, to be obedient to God. We have to start at the feet because we're on Earth's gravity, and that's our lowest point, that's our foundation. And since the feet grip and pull in and back, okay, with the arches of them, because that's just what happens. The inside of the foot hollows up, okay? The height of a gripped arch comes from the inside of it. We pull from those outer toes. There's a video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company titled Keeping Feet in the Outside of Shoes. And I was in the sand and I showed how that works with the gripped arch. Because again, we're kind of like pulling. No, that's not incorrect, but it's not kind of. We're literally pulling our toes back. So we kind of sit behind ourselves in life. Watch this. I'll kind of like step out of the video again, right? It just kind of feels like that's what I'm doing when I come over here, right? Just watch me move around. Like I'm back behind myself, and that's where I don't have all that much visual documentation as of today's date on just how well my body actually works. Nothing to do with me other than I preach what I have practiced. I know what I'm talking about. And so when I get all stumbled up, on my words, or it seems like I don't know what I'm saying because I'm thinking through it so much, I just want to say it correct for the sake of not giving false information. But I know what I'm talking about. Sometimes it just takes me the amount of time it takes to put it into words properly. But the reason I moved like that is because the feet grip and we're backward. We're on Earth's gravity. It starts at the bottom, at the foundation of everything. The foundation of our lives is centered on Jesus Christ. That's how our bodies work the best. That's how our lives work the best. We're designed in the image of Jesus Christ. It's his design. We can only allow it to work. The feet, being the lowest point on his earth with its gravity, pull back from the toes. Okay? So because of that, the snake in activation, front to back, has to start from pulling backward. It's a pull. It's in the back seat of our body. We just need things to track in line. Muscles only pull, is what I mean. The human body only pulls endpoints together. The insertion of this upper trapezius muscle from the scapula and shoulder area up to the very base of the rear of the skull, there's only one in-line position to just pull two things together with, okay? The upper trapezius muscles support the shoulders. More than any muscle will support the shoulders vertically like that from the top of them. There's the sternocleidomastoid, sure, but it's small and it does not do the same role at all. The importance of even sternocleidomastoid insertions is a video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. We talk about right behind the ears where these muscles insert. We put a lot of focus on the sternocleidomastoid insertions, okay? And just the sternocleidomastoid themselves, because the rear of the lower jawbone has to just barely clear that muscle to get vertical, okay? Looking down opposes bad posture, seen with context, but that's a video under the main side of In The Image Clothing Company. Okay. The human body only ever pulls. Now you know that I know what I'm talking about. After I've discussed it this much. In some part of this video that might have been questionable, like, does he know what he's saying? Yeah, there's no question. That's what I mean. That's why I discuss things so thoroughly. That's why I make these videos as long as I do. That's why I can say so confidently, do not believe me. Truth is truth, and this is the truth. There's no opinion. You can't discuss it like this and have an opinion on it. No, there's no possible way to ever get the body to do anything, and it only pulls. Always, only, and ever. That's it. We need to focus on everything we do movement-wise in our bodies, in our lives, as if it's a pull. Because stemming from our foundation, our feet do pull backward. So, the feet grip arches inward and pull backward and keep us vertical. They grip inward, but they grip backward. The length of toes is different. We're just kind of pulling on an angle in and back. Just the shape of the feet. Mechanically, it's God's design. So when we're sitting on the ground, our heels pulling to our sit bone, it's a pull. When we're sitting in a chair, now it's more of a push. Because you can't sit in a chair height with your knee somewhere at like a 90-degree bend and grip your foot very well. You're just so far into range of motion of your muscles, they're already pulled so much together, if you will, contracted, right? like what I was saying about, that's crazy, because like what I was saying about, oh shoot, you know, you put heels on your shoes, and the reason your body tenses up is because it's actually already just, you know, it's just outside of its neutral, okay? It's shortened. You put heels on the shoes, you shorten the calves. If you shorten the calves, everything else travels up, right? There's a foundation. The feet, that's what I'm saying, on Earth's gravity. And so everything's already just out of its range of motion slightly. Like I said, the hands will do exactly what the feet are doing in the distance of the height of the, well, it'd be like this, right? But of the height of the heel of our shoe, our hand or our wrist angle is what I mean, will move. But the hand is the shoulder, and then, you know, the whole body, from the feet up to the tip of the head, the tips of the hands or the fingers, it'll be altered with a heel on our shoe. And so then we can't grip, because when I talk about the height of a gripped arch and the feet grip from the outside pinky toe inward, the pinky toe is the shortest. You put a heel on your foot and your pinky toe just can't touch the ground. It's the same thing when we talk about involving a radius in daily life, right? A video under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company, or involving the pinky finger, right? And how the pinky finger affects the entire body. These are all videos under the main site of In The Image Clothing Company. It's just the shortest finger. And so we just have to involve it because it's also the neutral wrist. Straightforward from the pinky finger, just like the neutral ankle is straightforward from the pinky toe. If we lift a heel off the ground of our foot with a heel on our shoe, our pinky toe just can't get to the ground. So we can't pull, we can't sit behind ourselves, if you will. Our bodies can't work properly, starting from their very foundation. Everything from there up is altered, and then you feel like you want to stretch your body because it stiffens up. But now you're pulling on your body when your body only pulls together. You're pulling it the opposite direction, you're stretching it, damaging it. There's only one way the human body could ever work, but there's only one way the human body could ever work. Meaning we have to do all that we have to do to allow it to, in all of it, because it all works only ever together. So since we start from pulling at the foundation backward, we need to kind of be behind ourselves in everything we do in life. Okay? Then we're neutral. Now the shoulders sit behind the head just because that's where they sit. That's where they pull two endpoints together. That's where the endpoints are, vertically on Earth's gravity. And the human body is only pulling with all the motion it does in life. Because even though the human body only pulls, so even in a motion that seems like a push, it's like, okay, well, the body still only ever pulls, you say, so I'm still technically pulling, even when your hand is going away from you. True. You are pulling. Okay, the elbow to the shoulder when the hand goes away from you. But like moving something, like moving furniture. I was with my grandma yesterday, and we were moving furniture just in the house that, you know, we were in. Yeah, this is just great to explain, because I told her I'd rather pull. You know, she said, come over here and you can help me push. I said, I'd rather pull, okay? Because of this, the truth of the human body and its mechanical ability to do any kind of function. It only pulls. But in a way where it really actually pulls closest to itself the best. Because even though you're still technically pulling, if you're taking your hands from a position close-ish to your body and then farther away from your body, it's still just a pull in the actual functioning that's just causing the extension of the elbow, right, to get your hand farther from you. Still, we're on Earth's gravity, and our center of gravity is directly above our feet. And so when we pull physically something closer to our bodies, like moving furniture and grabbing it with our hands, grip or grabbing strength, even that, it's a pull from the fingers, tips, really fingers pads, to the palm, okay? Good nails on the fingers and toes, all the way to the tips of them, fully supporting them, cut relatively flat just so we don't roll out of this neutral position, okay? We would actually be pulling our fingers to our palms grabbing something. That's the first pulling. And then we would pull now our biceps from our elbow joint to our shoulder. Okay. We would pull our shoulder to our spine with these trapezius muscles and all the muscles in the middle of the rear of the back. We would